Hey friends, this is Brian Foreman with Campbell University Center for Church and Community, and you are tuning into another episode of What's Good. Today I'm excited to welcome my friend and pseudo former colleague, maybe, we don't know, but if you know the Reverend Dr. Lynn Brinkley, she's now the Associate Director for Baptist Women in Ministry, formerly with Campbell University Divinity School, and just an all-around amazing person. And Lynn, I am grateful that you have chosen to be here today, and like I start all the episodes, tell me what's good with you.
What's good? Well, it's always good to see B4 Man. I always call you B4 Man. So that's good. Good to see and reconnect with you. And I miss my Campbell family, so it's good to be here. Just doing like everybody else, just trying to stay well in this difficult season. Trying to be intentional about staying well. You and I just worked together hosting the Ministers Health Summit, and the importance of, taking care of ourselves holistically, especially during a national pandemic. So, hey, I'm walking 5 miles every single day, Monday through Saturday, sometimes on Sunday. Just to get out of this is my office space. So I'm going outside in the mornings, and I go to the beach every single day.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Every day?
I go to the beach every day. So I was telling one of my friends the other day, she said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm at the beach." She's like, "Wow, how did you get to the beach?" And like, I'm so jealous. And a lot of people there. I said, "No, it's just me. And I'm sitting in my garage." Beach chair, and there's a little pond in front of my house, and so there's a water splashing in the pond, and then across the street from where I live there is a horse farm, so I can see horses galloping in the water. So every day I go to the beach. That's what I do for my mental health. I go in my garage, and I'm trying to decorate my garage so that it's sacred space and that it makes me feel good. So I have this long lounge chair there, and sometimes I even put on beach clothes, Brian. I will throw like I'm going to Myrtle. And so I just sit back, and sometimes I'll have my laptop, so I'm working, or I'll just call. So that's good. I go to the beach, and I'll tell you what really is good. And I'm telling you, I'm not alone in this. It's really good. Hamilton. Have you seen Oh my goodness. Why was I not in New York when all this was happening? I am a Hamilton fanatic. I have watched since it launched on Disney Plus. I have probably seen it every day. I listen to the musical soundtrack, like, "Alexa, play Hamilton soundtrack." She knows probably already has it ready. And my favorite, I did a post the other day about my favorite scene is, I got a crush on George Washington. I'm going to just say it now. I've got a crush on George Washington. When they say, "Here comes the general," I'm like, "What? Here comes the general. I can't wait." And when he just, he says, "Can I be real a second for just a millisecond? Tell everybody how I feel for a second." That part? Oh, so Hamilton, I just think it's a masterpiece. I just really do. I just think the creativity in that production, the inclusivity of, the different ethnicities, the women, it is just a powerful story. And I mean, I knew about, the Revolution, American Revolution, and, I knew about, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, but there's so many things I didn't know. So I'm actually hitting pause and Googling, okay, this happened, what's the story behind this? Are there really the Schuyler sisters? So it's just, Hamilton has really just given me energy that, we've been in this thing since March. So, I think everybody has gotten to a point where they're like, it's like, okay, but Hamilton has revived me. And so that's been good. That's been real good.
So the guy who plays John Lawrence.
Yes.
He is going to be the lead in the movie adaptation of Into the Heights, which is another Lin-Manuel Miranda production.
Oh,
and
sweet. I got
he
to check
plays
that
the
out.
lead in that. So that should be fun to watch. Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
when we watch it, and we had the good fortune to see it in Charlotte a couple of years ago. The stage production is just remarkable. The energy they've caught even on the video production of it, right? And
Mhm.
um, I am just always stunned by George Washington's lines. He's probably
Yeah.
my favorite character as well. But when he talks about leaving well, when he talks
Yes.
about how much harder it is to lead than to do anything else, I'm like, yep, yep, 100 times,
Isn't
yep.
he like a model leader? I mean, he's just his compassion, his empathy. Even when they shoot the General Lee, it's like these men don't speak for me. I would have never given this order. I mean, it's good to see someone lead, not only leaving well but leading well.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. And just so many of the little lines that are a part of it
yeah.
that challenge the way we understand history and the
Mhm.
very the very the very nature of why there was such fraction between the North and the South
Yeah.
in the Congress to put together a constitution and where the capital went and all of those pieces. And Hamilton's line about in one of the rap battles that you don't pay for your labor,
Right.
which is like
Absolutely.
there's a zinger.
Yeah, that, and even the line about, immigrants, we get the job done. How timely in all that's going on, in this season and I think that was the other good and hopeful thing, with all we've been dealing with the national protests to, see a production like this that's mindful.
Okay, we had to do something we've not done before, Lynn. We were having to edit some of this because we had a technical issue pop up in the middle of something you were saying, and I'm not 100% sure where we were in that because my heart went a flutter and I panicked about what's happening.
I think, well, we were on Hamilton, which is like my what's good
Hmm.
going on in my life. And I think we were just talking about how relevant it is, dealing with the issues of the day. And we were talking about, with all of the, not only the pandemic, but all of the racial divide that we're seeing in our country today. It was good to see Hamilton and the diverse cast and just to give some hope in that because, but I remember in recent years, I mean, I've said it several times, I had just given up hope on race relations in America. I had just threw in the towel. I just said, it's just not going to happen. And it's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. I just felt like there was just, people were just so set on being who they were and their thoughts. But after the death of George Floyd and seeing, the nation come together like it has, and to see people protesting, I would have never thought it would have protested before. To see, different races, different ages. I hate that George Floyd, who is from Fayetteville, North Carolina, by the way, his family are, right down the road.
Hmm.
I hate that he had to be the sacrificial lamb, but to see, I mean, I have hope like I've never had in my life, to see monuments coming down, to see books written about, Confederate monuments, to see, diverse groups protesting, to see legislation being changed, to see NASCAR of all organizations. NASCAR. I mean, I really thought I had misheard the news. And to me, that was, of any organization, that was a major move. That was major. Hats off to NASCAR. There's still organizations that need to speak out. There's still churches, pastors. I'm waiting to speak out and not tiptoe around the issue. Um, I'm listening for people not only to acknowledge but to take action. And I'm so thankful that so many of my friends, um, and pastor friends, especially those who are a member of churches that are not, churches of color, that are taking a more vocal stand on these issues. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So you talk about another thing that's good. Lynn Brinkley has hope, and she hadn't had hope in a long time as it relates to race relations. So.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people who are finally willing to step into the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Those conversations, if they make you uncomfortable, good.
Yeah.
Right? That means that something's at work in you.
Yeah.
That they had the, and it's overstating it to say for a white person to have the courage to step into their discomfort, but we've never had to.
Right.
And so
you got to read Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility. I mean, that's, I tell you, I walk in the mornings, I'm listening to, that book is so real. And to talk about, the fear of being willing to look at yourself. And we all got to do that work. Everybody has to do that work. But I mean, she nails it.
So I'm curious about a question, and this may be something we have to edit out too, because I'm hitting you with something cold here on this one. thinking about one of the criticisms of her book has been that why is a white person writing about white fragility as if they're the expert on race relations and what's happened in our country? What's the value of her? Let me rephrase it. What makes her voice one worth listening to? As an advocate from somebody who has, quite honestly, had some pretty significant privilege.
Yeah, her voice is significant, just like every white pastor, whether male or female's voice is significant, every university president, every person in a position of power and privilege with abilities to hire and make major decisions, determine voting. It is so relevant because what she unmasked are biases that most people don't see within themselves. And what the chapter, I think it was chapter 9 that I was listening to this morning, is how she talks about how the excuses that come, when someone of color makes a comment, or she challenges, a white person to see, this is this person's issue. And she lists all these excuses that she normally hears, hey, I've been a victim too. I've got a friend who's Black. I've marched in the civil rights movement. I give, all these different, but it's again, that privilege of trying to, defend your position, which has always been a position of privilege and power. Yes, your grandparents or parents may not have been slave holders, but you benefit from that history. And you're so used to it that you don't even realize it.
Yep.
And so I think, her voice is, because I couldn't write that book and be taken and someone listen, because it's just, a Black woman griping. But to have someone who is white to say, hey, this is a journey that we all have to take. And this is how I have benefited as a white person. And I know it, but you've got to know it too.
Yeah. And I think there are a fair number of white folks who have tried to step into that space, and some who are afraid to step into that space because they don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yes.
We've seen that, and we saw this from some of the character assault that was directed towards Louis Giglio and Lecrae and that crowd with that interview.
Yeah.
Not to excuse it, I thought it was an incredibly poor choice of words, but it's that fear of, well, what if I make a mistake?
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, say, I'm sorry, tell me a better way.
Yeah.
Right?
And there has to be grace on both ends. There has to be grace in terms of, okay, if I don't get it right, help me to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And let's move from there. But there also has to be the acknowledgement, okay, I'm telling you what you're saying or doing that is offensive or insensitive or coming from a place of privilege, I need you to acknowledge that, even if you don't see it, be willing to learn how that is and not say, well, I've been a victim too, or, I'm not being heard or seen, some of the things that D'Angelo talks about in her book. So I think it's a very, helpful read during this season. Only the strong will survive. I mean, it really makes you look. It's just like Myers-Briggs and all these other things that make you look inwardly at yourself. Are you willing? That's one of the things that I've been doing to stay good. I've been going back over the genogram and trying to understand my personality type and how my personality interacts with other people, and how I can work on calming me down some, and journaling. That's just been the major thing I'm doing. I've been recommending, when I meet with Baptist women all over the United States in conversation, I say, you've got to journal. I'm journaling a lot for historical reasons. I've been capturing what's been happening in this pandemic. Like, I want to know, when we go back to church prayerfully, especially our senior members, what could we have done as a church to keep them engaged? I'm curious to survey senior adults and say, especially those who are not connected to technology, what could we have done as church leaders to make sure you felt connected to your church during the pandemic? So I'm journaling some of the things our church has done. I'm journaling what people are going through. I'm journaling what I see happening in the world. So I'm journaling about NASCAR and, things surrounding the protest movements, things about my health and my wellness. And so I find journaling has been very helpful for me during this season.
So journaling has become almost, because you mentioned something already that I want to circle back to. You talked about your beach.
Yeah.
And creating a sacred space there, and your journaling is creating sacred space. Mm-hmm. Are there other things that you're doing to create sacred space, or what's helping you to lean into that?
And I love to cook. I normally pre-pandemic, everybody was so busy. I think this is one of the beauty. I think it slowed the world down some. It's just, and I would have been at the Final Four, some kind of major sports at least once a month. But to be able to just not travel so much and just to focus on self, to me mainly, but I'm cooking more, which I love to cook. And I think you and I had the conversation before, because I order Sunbasket meals. I think you said your family had did it before. Mm-hmm. To me, I love it because, I get tired of running up to Chipotle or Panera Bread. The beauty of, ordering, I don't have to go into the grocery store. It comes to my house, and I'm making something creative every day, and it's feeding my passion for cooking. And I'm a pescatarian, so it's hard for me to find things out fast food wise anyway. So I'm cooking. I'll have to make you something one day.
Well, as we look forward to the future, I'm curious. You hit on a number of things that I think would make for additional fantastic conversations. So, in a couple of months, can we do a What's Good To with Lynn Brinkley to hear more about journaling and how you're still leaning into sacred spaces?
And don't forget George Washington. I'll have to give you on the latest thing I've learned from George Washington and Hamilton. Yes.
By then you'll be able to rap every line, I feel certain.
Can I get real a second for just a millisecond? Tell the people how I feel for just a millisecond. It's been so fun having me today.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Lynn, you are a joy. And if folks want to learn more about Baptist Women in Ministry, if maybe somebody has never heard of the organization, how can they get in touch with you? How can they learn more?
Absolutely. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Our website is www.bwim.info. So visit us on our website and our Facebook and other social media outlets.
So bwim.info, huh?
Yes.
WIM, bwim.info. Awesome. We'll try to make sure we post that in on our website as well to make sure that folks can connect with you and learn about the good work that you guys are doing, supporting women in ministry. It's such a crucial thing. And talk about being in the forefront of a number of movements. You find
Yeah.
yourself there again. So
Yeah, this is good work. I'm enjoying being part of Baptist Women in Ministry because women are called, and they're definitely called for such a time as this.
there is no doubt indeed. Lynn, that is a great word to end on. You are certainly called, and we are grateful for you and the ministry that you lead.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks. Take care.